Hello, so welcome to this little session. So Katie and I thought it would be a really great idea to come together and actually kind of show you kind of in motion, in real time, some of the insight that you're going to get and how that is going to support you when you choose to step into leading from within. So obviously Katie is going to work with you with your Success Codex, which is incredible. I am going to work with you with your leadership soul signatures. And what I thought I would do in this session, because obviously Katie and I, being the people that we are, really wanting to embody the work that we do, before we actually even looked at putting a leading within together, we actually looked at our own profiles. So I looked at my leadership profile and Katie's leadership profile with soul signatures, and she looked at her own Success Codex and she looked at my Success Codex. So we could really see how they complement, how they work together, and how they really support together. And obviously you may know quite a lot about human design, you may not know so much about Success Codex, but you also may not know very much about soul signatures. So what I want you to do in this kind of short session, so we're aiming to keep it, a good time so that you're not having to watch things for hours. What I thought I would do, just very succinctly, is to talk through what my leadership soul signature is and what Katie's leadership soul signature is, so that you can understand the sort of information, the sort of insight that you'll get from it. So you can actually have a look at, well, actually, this is really going to support me because it's going to help me understand how I lead, what steps me back. And when you have that level of understanding, what you're actually able to do is then start to look at, actually, those moments where I step back. This is what happens when I do, and this is what I need to work to change. So without any further ado, I'm going to dive in, and I tend to be quite fluid in these sessions because I trust that you'll get what you need. Obviously, Katie is going to ask any questions she has as I talk through her leadership signature. But what I'm going to do is just talk about some of the key aspects of both Katie's leadership signature and my leadership signature, so you get an idea of what it actually means. So in case you don't know anything about soul signatures, there are 11, and you have all 11 soul signatures within you, but there are certain signatures which influence and impact you a little bit more fully through life, which you're really asked to lean in and work with and really understand how they show up for you. And one of those soul signatures is your leadership signature. And what it does is it helps you to understand how you innately lead. So not how you think you should be doing it, because that's how ABC person over there does it, but actually what's really naturally aligned to you. And when you get rid of all of the noise and you look at what's aligned to you, it becomes far more easy to follow your own sense of leadership. So Katie's leadership soul signature is an anchor soul signature, and essentially what that really means is that she leads from a really stable, grounded center within herself. That's her gift. Her gift is the ability to actually hold space for herself, to hold space for who she is, to hold space for what's coming next. And that's actually how she leads you, because she creates the opportunity to be the safe space that you need while you are shifting through and moving through shifts or changes or transformations in your life. So when we look at that energy for Katie, what it really means is that when she really wants to step into her leadership, she can't step into it from a place of overwhelm. She can't step into it from a place of scattered directions or scattered opportunities. She really has to come back to being the still point that she needs, so she can actually lead through grounded presence. And what I mean by that is so that she's not stuck in the mind, but she's actually feeling and experiencing the right next steps through the fact that she's coming back to a point of stillness, through the fact that she's coming back to her center, through the fact that she's coming back to feel into what really feels right for her, out of perhaps all the opportunities that are available to her. Now, within that, she's also really asked to see herself as her point of stability, not life. Life is not where Katy finds her stability from a leadership perspective. It's actually within her own energy. So the more she actually detaches from who she thinks she should be, or the expectations that other people have of her, the more she actually narrows her focus, connects into her core, and is actually able to step and lead from that place, which always leads to the exact next right step. And the significant thing also with Katy from a leadership perspective is that when she's in that space of really holding herself and being fully in her presence, what that actually does for her is it actually enables her to lean into trust within herself. So even if what she needs to do is to make a significant and really quite transformative change in her life, she's able to make that and lead that with a grounded sense of, actually, I trust myself, and I trust myself to navigate this, and I trust myself to find and to know and to come across wherever I need to in the moment as I'm embarking on this next step or this next direction. And so there's a really grounded presence within Katy's natural leadership energy. And yet she's also visionary, but she's not visionary from an airy-fairy perspective. She's visionary from a really, actually, if I embody this, and with Katy, what happens with her leadership energy is that she embodies the vision before she actually takes a step toward the vision, because that's her natural energy. So it's already grounded within her. Her presence is grounded within her, and that actually supports her to step up and lead in a way that gives assurance. So when we look at Katy's leadership energy specifically as well, one of the things that's really incredible with Anchor as a leadership signature is because there's such a grounded presence when you're fully embodying your leadership, everything relaxes around you. So the nervous system relaxes. Those senses that are sometimes on heightened alert, they relax, and they enable you to have the clarity to really feel into the path. Even if you don't know the whole path, you're able to feel into those next steps with a level of assurance and a level of clarity and a level of confidence that helps you feel assured with the step that you're taking. How does that resonate for you, Katy, now I've said that?
I love it, because I remember we went through some of this when we got together, and I was smiling because a lot of the language is echoing my human design and the Success Codex. So we're going to do another one of these and do the reverse, and I'm sure people will love to see the correlation. But over my lifetime, I have found that people seem to be drawn to me during unstable periods in their life. And I didn't kind of as you're growing up in your 20s, I mean, I'm 48 next week, is like you kind of, people would kind of come towards me when they were going through something, when they were struggling with something, and it almost was like I was this safe place, this calm place. But then once the crisis was over, they'd like drift away again, and I wouldn't really hear from them. It's not that I didn't hear from them, and it took me, I was like confused to start with it. Like, well, am I only here because they go? But energetically, they were drawn to me because of their ability and this groundedness. And I am repeatedly told that I don't tend to add my own emotions to things.
Absolutely. And that's because when we look at your leadership energy from a soul signature perspective, because you hold your own energy so well, you don't need to be validated by somebody else's perspective. So you don't need to allow yourself to be validated by giving someone else information that they don't necessarily need to make the decision that they need to make. So you are literally, you are the harbour, you are the safe harbour for a ship that is going through a transformation, because you provide the grounded presence that enables somebody else to unfold into what they need to know. and to really realize and understand what they need to for themselves. And of course, yes, all of your experience can support that, but it's actually your presence that enables. It's not what you know. What you know is an added bonus, but it's your presence. It's the ability to really be that steady space, that presence that is really solid and certain, that means that people feel safe enough to actually expand, safe enough to explore, safe enough to transform in the space that you hold.
Yeah, I think it's coming from historically like a very logical background. It's taken me a while to lean into like people just being around me. It's the thing. It's like because we kind of feel like we should be doing something. Should be telling them something, should be doing something, should be, and actually part of the transformation is it's just like you said, the calmness, the groundedness. So as we're having the conversation, and so actually hearing somebody else tell you that is like, oh, okay, right, I've noticed that, I've seen that as a pattern. Now I can actually have some language and some words and tangibly kind of go, okay, this is what is happening. And now I can, I understand it more because, me, I do love to understand everything.
And so when you're talking about doing, so when we look at the energy that supports our leadership, so from a soul signatures perspective, there's an energy that supports your leadership, and there's also an energy that doesn't support your leadership. So that ability that empowers you and the things that step you back. So the things that step you back are when you are too much in the doing, but the doing doesn't come from the presence within you. So it doesn't come from a place of purpose. It comes from a place of, oh, this is what I think I have to do. Because what happens with that is you move away from your natural grounded center, your natural presence, and you move way too much in the head into a space where there's lots of noise and lots of overwhelms. Now, the other thing that happens and you'll notice this within yourself, Katy, is that there's a natural process of evolution that you go through. Yeah, and there's a natural process of evolution that we all go through, but you're able to hold that with more centered stability than somebody else might. So you're able to reflect and really recognize the process that you're going through and the change that you're going through and the way that you're evolving or the way that your work is evolving without necessarily losing your center. And that's because with anchor, there's a real desire to really be the stability that you seek within you. And so one of the ways that you're disempowered is if you don't let go of who you used to be or what you used to do. So when you hold on to things that you know intrinsically are shifting or evolving or changing, that's when you naturally step back from the natural leader that you are. And when I say the natural leader that you are, for all of us, we lead ourselves first. So yes, being that space is how you lead other people, but it's also how you lead yourself. And so when you hang on to things that you know are waiting to shift, you actually disempower your ability to hold your own presence and hold your own center. And of course, the key thing about this is not actually this is what disempowers us, but it's now I know this disempowers me. I know that actually when I'm in this place, I'm actively stepping back from myself. So now I know that I can change that.
Yeah, I recognize that pattern. And again, that pattern shows up in my human design. So, again, when you hear things from all these different perspectives, it's like I notice it, I see it, and awareness is the big part of the movement forward, isn't it? It's like I am able to observe myself.
Yeah.
And go, this is what I'm doing here.
And particularly with you, and there is that opportunity to observe yourself in a way that perhaps some of the other signatures don't from a leadership perspective. Okay. So my leadership signature is a devotion signature. So I lead best when I am actively devoted to something. So I
Okay.
have to be really passionate about what I'm doing, and there has to be a real meaning within it that matters for me.
Right.
And if there isn't a meaning that matters for me, I am not going to do what I need to do to make it happen. So, for instance, if I know that I have to do something because it's really significant for my life, for my being, one of the ways with devotion that I have to find a way through is I have to find a way to find something in it that has real meaning for me and makes a difference. So, and I say that because we all have these really mundane things in life. Yeah, we all have these things we have to do that are not necessarily our passion. But for me, with a devotion signature as a leadership signature, to make something really work, even if it's not what I'm super passionate about, I have to find something in it that really means something to me. And so, and understanding that actually has shifted a lot for me. So when
Right.
so when you look at your signature as anchor, and it's that ability to really observe, yes, because you very much are able to hold your presence and be in your presence at the same time as being a witness to what you're thinking, what you're reflecting upon, what is going on around you, that brings you back into then understanding what's shifting around you and always allowing yourself to lead from that place of actually, this is my core, this is my center, this is a presence, and really being able to make a change from that place, because from that place it's always the right step. Even if the direction takes you somewhere that you didn't expect, it's still the right step because you're leading from the fullness of who you are.
Yeah, so fascinating. And what fascinates me, which is, what I loved about human design as well, was understanding, it sounds bonkers for me to say this out loud, understanding that we're all different. We know we're all different. Again, like sort of being able to maybe support other people and see and how all these beautiful different leadership pieces complement each other.
Absolutely. So there was a great deal of insight I got from my leadership signature. There's insight that you got from yours. And when we look at your leadership signatures, there are also signatures that form a subconscious energy that almost are catalysts to that. So although you'll have a leadership signature, which really identifies the key energy that you naturally lead with, that naturally empowers your leadership, there are also signatures that sit underneath that also support you really activating that. So for instance, some of your catalyst signatures, one of them is resonance, which is about energy alignment and flow. Yeah, so you don't naturally lead when you don't feel aligned to something and when you're not really in flow. That's when you step out of that leadership and you move into that I've got to do this because I've got to do this. And one of the other signatures that's really key for you is commitment. So there's that alignment with truth, which is really interesting from an anchor perspective, because obviously we are always evolving, and you have the ability to hold your center even through evolution and even through changes. But what is also important is that within those changes, you find the truth that's right for you, that is your truth at any given moment in time. And if something doesn't align with your truth, then it becomes very difficult for you to put your full energy behind it. So it becomes very difficult for you to lead it or lead you in the way that you really need to.
I definitely recognize that. Yeah. So I do have a question. You meant, well, I kind of recognized how I feel people are maybe drawn to my leadership energy. Do you recognize a pattern in who or situations or anything where people's kind of drawn to your devotion, the connection there?
Yeah, I do, and I think for me, there's a real kind of devotion to my work, to who I am, to what I want to do, and that is what pulls people in. So for me, if I look at devotion, part of that is a real commitment to my path, and people see the commitment I have to me, the commitment I have to how my life has changed, how my life has shifted, and they're drawn to that process of commitment. And actually, commitment is one of my values. So it's the ability to recognize the commitment that I make when I'm working with people. So when I'm working with people, it's not necessarily that they're always that they're necessarily recognizing the commitment to the work that we do. Hopefully they do. But as you know, you'll have some people that step forward purely from an informational perspective. But what they tend to recognize is my commitment to them through the process.
Right.
And that is because from a devotion signature perspective, I say I have to find a meaning, and I have to find the thing that matters, that really enables me to be fully focused and committed to what I'm doing and how I'm doing it. So there's always an element of commitment, and there's an element of through focus with that. So I don't necessarily deal with bits of fluff. It's actually, let's go straight to the heart of the matter, because that's the thing that matters. Because with devotion, it's what is the thing that really matters. So that's the bit that we need to get to. That's the bit we need to work with. That's the journey we need to go on to get to.
So in the same way that people might not, because with energy, it is a subconscious thing, isn't it? It's just a thing that we're drawn to. So with me, people naturally sense I can hold them while they're going through this change, or the stability that they need in the change. And for you, they're potentially energetically understanding that they need, or that they're looking for that ability to be held for the commitment of it.
Yeah.
And the actual, the whole process. And that's really fascinating. I love that.
Mm. And it's like anything. There's lots of, when we look at anything from let's say from a profile perspective, obviously it's informative, and that's really great. But what tends to really support shifts, what tends to support real transformations, and what tends to support actually really fully embodying that energy, is actually working with it, actually looking at, well, actually, where do we embody it? Where don't we embody it? What is the thing that makes us hesitate and that steps us back? What is the thing that actually really steps us forward? And obviously, a lot of that is also what we're going to be working with as we work with people through Leading from Within, both within the Success Codex and within Soul Signatures. So it's not about giving you lots of information, which will resonate, but it's actually, how do we actually take that information that we've given you and work with it so that you actually really start to embody it, understand it, and to live it in life. We don't want it to stay over here like a book that you've read, that you read once and you never go back to. It's actually, let's actually really make it real, tangible, and embodied. And let's do that while we're working together, so that you really feel and know the difference through the 12 weeks.
That's why we made it the 12 weeks, because I know we all can fall into this trap, but we get the thing, we print it out, which is, I've got all the printouts, all the profiles, read it. Oh my gosh, yes, it's so me. Love it. Put it in the folder. And
Forget about it for a year.
Yeah, and the same happens with human design readings, Success Codex readings. I've had disc profiles, Harrison reports, all the things. But the magic and the work really comes from actually working with it, sitting with it, exploring it, like noticing it, paying attention to it, giving it some love and attention, giving it some devotion. You see?
Absolutely. Absolutely. And actually really kind of bringing, and I guess this is also something that maybe is also for you and I, in terms of, because we are both incredibly committed and devoted to what we're bringing forward within this. But actually, if you're joining us,
yes, that's just what I was going to say.
There is a level of devotion and commitment that you need to bring. Neither Katy or I are here to guide you through 12 weeks, which is a bit of information that you are not really committed to bringing forward more fully in your life, because we wanted it to make a real difference to you. But that means that you have to want it to make a real difference to you too.
Yes.
So there's an element of devotion, an element of commitment, an element of you really being present and wanting to make the most of it that is really important for us, but more importantly for you.
But if we put the two soul signatures together as us holding the space, obviously it is this mix of energy of the commitment, the devotion to the process that you bring, and me anchoring in the stability through the changes that might occur over the 12 weeks.
Yeah, it's that ability to open and to enable you to recognize what you need to recognize for you and really feel that within you. Not feel it within you from a head perspective. Of course, it will make sense, but really feel the power, the energy, the transformation from an internal space, which is that kind of devotional energy. But then also having the space, particularly with your leadership signature, which really enables people to be in that space, in that held space, as they really start to shift, as they really start to move through and embody what we're both working with them with. Exciting.
It is exciting. So exciting. So is that the perfect time to wrap that up?
I think it probably is. And, if you have any questions about anything I've talked about from a leadership soul signature perspective, what I would say is please just feel free to pop me a message. Always happy to have a chat with you about it. And obviously, Katy and I will do another session where we're looking at Success Codex as well. But if you have any questions, if you know Katy more than you know me, for instance, and you're a bit more comfortable approaching Katy, please feel free to do that. But we are here for any questions that you have about what the 12 weeks are going to entail, what you're going to get from it, any question about how I work, how Katy works, and what we're going to individually bring and collectively bring, then please just reach out and ask.
I've had another idea. Depending on when you're watching this, you have your 7-day.
You do, actually. That's, of course. So depending upon when you are watching this, if you haven't worked with soul signatures before and you're curious about them, so obviously we're going to work with them both energetically and very practically, kind of with beliefs and with embodiment within leading from within. But if you think, I have no idea what soul signatures are, and actually this sounds really curious, but I don't know what soul signatures are, and that's a bit that's making me hesitate, or I would like to learn a little bit more, then I do have a 7-day free live experience that I'm running from the 1st of December. We're going to be working with the integration soul signature, which is the energy for next year. So that will give you a real insight into what soul signatures are and actually their power and how they support you. So please come and join me. It's free, 7 days. I promise you it's not going to be overwhelming. I promise you you're going to get loads from it. But it actually is a really great intro into soul signatures. If you think, oh, I love those, I love hearing about them, but I don't really know what they are. So perfect.
Can't believe we nearly forgot that piece.
I know. And that's because we're kind of in flow, isn't it? And what I want to say is, this is not, Katy and I wanted to do this very much in flow and just conversationally rather than it being too prescribed, because actually you generally get what you need when everybody's in flow.
Yeah, I mean, I remember when I first did the soul signature, it was not this year, it was middle of last year when you did the surrender soul signature, because that was something I needed to work on, and I loved it. So yeah, if you have sort of come across this and you've got to the end and you're super curious, then and it's before the 1st of December. All those buts.
or even if it's 2 or 3 days in, please come and join me. Honestly, you'll have time to catch up and it's not overwhelming, but it's a great opportunity to just learn a little bit more if you're curious and you're wanting to dip your toe in before you commit fully.
Yeah, and also keep an eye out because we will be back, but talking about this same kind of thing, but through the lens of the human design and the Success Codex.
Absolutely. Can't wait. Oh, anyway, that's us for now, but you know where we are if you need anything, and lots of love.